careful about what Freud designates as death drive. We should be very careful because Freud himself, I think, wasn't fully aware of what he produced as a concept. It always happened with great inventors, you know. When you discover it, you don't really know what you discovered because you try automatically to translate it into previous old terminology. Did you notice this paradox that if you really read Freud closely, what he describes as a death drive is basically a name almost for its very opposite. I claim death drive is Freudian name for immortality even. Why? Do you remember how Freud, in his Jenseits des Lustprinzips, how he introduces death drive? The fundamental dimension is that of Wiederholungszwang. Why do we repeat experiences which are often, or as a rule, unpleasant, even terrifying, and so on and so on? So, again, in the very core of the notion of death drive is not the will to disappear, oh, I want to disappear, to die, but exactly the opposite. It's a weird, obscene life which exists even after its biological death. It's this obscenity, which is why I claim that if there are figures which embody clearly what Freud aimed at with his notion of death drive, it is rather, I know of two examples, maybe they're even connected. Wagnerian, Wagner opera, not Otto Wagner, not the architect, Wagnerian heroes and zombies and the living dead in horror movies and literature. Why? You know what is the problem of great Wagnerian heroes, from Fliegende Holländer to Amfortas in Parsifal? It's not that, the death drive is not their wish to die, but it's precisely what keeps them alive forever. You know this, like, what does Fliegende Holländer want? He just wants to die in peace. And he strives for it Amfortas again in Parsifal. The problem is that he simply, the true wound is the wound which makes you immortal. It's something which obscenely insists, repeats itself beyond life and death. It's the same with zombies and others, vampires who are precisely undead. And I claim it's very important how all these horrible images, zombies, living dead, emerged precisely in the epoch of German idealism through Kant. Why? Kant himself provides the key with a wonderful, crucial distinction between, as he calls it, negating a predicate and affirming a non-predicate. Like, if you say about someone, and here we enter Stephen King territory of living dead, I hope you will get the distinction. If we say about someone, he isn't dead, this means simply he is alive, no mistake. But if we say about someone, he is undead, it's something totally different. It's something who is neither alive nor dead, but who is alive, remains alive at this obscene ghost which returns even while he is or she is dead. This is for Kant the domain of infinity, and it's a very mysterious infinity, because it's not the noble infinity of a pure spirit, it's an obscene bodily infinity, a bodily existence which persists beyond life and death. And that's what always fascinated me, this other infinity. I think the materialist answer to spiritualism is not, no, we are only finite beings, but there is another infinity, much more uncanny one. This, as it were, obscene infinity of pure undeadness, something that exists beyond life and death. And again, it's clear from Freud that this is what he was really aiming at. So the Freudian death drive, I claim, has nothing to do with so-called nirvana principle, we want to return to immobility. No, it's precisely some weird mobility, some existence of life which, again, it goes on. You cannot kill it. It goes on beyond life and death. And this is even, at a certain level, more generally, I don't have time to go into it now, Freud's fundamental discovery. Namely, you know, sometimes, even in Lacanian, Jacques Lacan, circles, a certain negative theological, in a bad sense, view predominates, as if the big message of psychoanalysis is incest, full enjoyment is impossible, you know, all this poetry of lack. You never get the object, you always miss it, we are just caught in this endless shifting of desire from one object to another, the big incestuous object that would fully satisfy me is always already lost, and so on. Yes, this is one lesson of Freud, of psychoanalysis. But this, what Lacan calls jouissance, this excessive enjoyment, is not only impossible, but at the same time impossible to get rid of. You cannot get rid of it. You know, the classical example here would be the economy of Zwangsneurose, of obsessional neurosis, where, let's say, you have a certain desire. You are ashamed of it, you want to get rid of it. How? The obsessional neurotic strategy is, this is very elementary what I'm telling you, the obsessional neurotic strategy is, of course, to establish rituals which will protect you from it. But what happens then? Every obsessional neurotic knows it, and you could believe me because I am obviously the one, like, if you look at me for more than 5 seconds and you don't get that I'm an obsessional neurotic, then I'm sorry for you. Okay, so what I want to say is that, you know, but then the very measures, rituals, destined to protect you from obscene pleasures get invested by this same pleasure. You start to enjoy the very rituals. This is close to what I call death drive. It's something that the more you try to squash it, you know, you destroy it here, it comes up there. It just insists on it, on it, on.